Hey everybody, how's it going? Ben here. Welcome to our settings video for PUBG. We've done a few of these in the past, but I haven't done one for quite a little while, and I've made a few tweaks to my settings since I last did a video. So just so we're all up to date, because a lot of you ask about this, this is my current PUBG settings. We're going to go through them real quick, and then I'll just talk about why I have those settings in particular a little bit as well after that. I won't go into too much detail on the Elite controller and setting that up. If you want a bit more info on how to set up your Elite controller, I'll link one of our older settings videos where I explain that at length, and you can figure out how to set up your hair triggers so you can use them without affecting driving and stuff like that. So for my sensitivity settings in PUBG on Xbox, I use the Type B preset. I used to use Type A way back when, but I've used Type B for a long time now. And absolutely love it. I have inverted Y, don't worry about that. If you use inverted Y, you know what I mean. If you don't use it, then, you know, don't use it. So don't change that if that's not what you're used to using. It's not going to make you better at PUBG. It's just if you're an old guy like me who used to play lots of GoldenEye, then maybe you're used to using inverted Y. My dead zones I have on 20. Mostly that's just because it kind of balances out a little bit of stick drift I actually get on my Elite controller. If I go lower than that, then you'll find that I actually get a little bit of drift. So leaving it on 20 seems to work well for me. I've not changed that setting for quite a long time. Vibration is off. My forward running is one that got tweaked recently. This was up on max before. I actually tweaked that down a little bit because I just found... This was on a suggestion from PUBG Andy, actually, one of the guys who works on the community side at PUBG, and he said he found if he brought it down, it just made his movement feel a little bit more fluid and a little bit more in control. So I brought it down to 30 from 50, and that has actually made a noticeable improvement to my movement, and pretty happy with that. Movement sense, I've still got on 100. Vertical sends multiplier, I still have right down the bottom. This is one a lot of people ask me about. This is the one that is, I think, most critical almost in controlling your recoil. I will, let's just show you real quick what I mean actually. So vertical, so this is how much you have to push the stick up and down to counteract recoil, up or down, depending on if you have inverted Y. But with my default setting, if I get the barrel here, we just shoot this wall, and I can sort of control that recoil pretty well by pushing my right stick, up, because I'm inverted Y. But now, if I change that vertical sensitivity multiplier and we smash that like right up to like something crazy like that, and we try and do the same thing again, you'll notice like push it, I keep pulling it way too far down till I get used to it, and that's because it makes it so much more sensitive. When I just touch my stick left and up and down, it goes up and down very quickly. So finding a sweet spot with that setting I think is very important for controlling your recoil, but also just getting used to the one you use. I could probably get away with changing mine to like 70, 75, and I'm sure after a few games I'd probably just get used to the feel of it. But I like having it down low on 50. That kind of works for me and gives me some nice control. As you can see, pretty easy to control some barrel recoil there, although it does have a comp vert grip, and I was crouching as well. So let's jump back into the settings and just show you the rest of them. So that was vert sends multiply. We got general sends I have up on 14. So I like to run a reasonably high general sensitivity and then quite low on my ADS one. So general sends is this, is anytime you're not aiming, looking around like this, it allows me to spin around and, you know, look around the map quite quickly, look around at people coming up behind me, and that kind of thing. But when I aim in down sights, my sends is quite sluggish and slow, as you'll notice. But we'll go and talk about that a touch more in a minute. Let me just show you the rest of these. So we got general on 14, we got vehicle driver on 10. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Aim acceleration I've now got off. I did have it turned on for a little while on 1, but most of the time I've played PUBG I've had this disabled, and I disabled it again because I just felt like that was working better for me. Over shoulder aiming I've got set to 10. That is when you soft aim. And then my ADSs I've got 1x on 4, which I've just tweaked down even more. That is super low right now. I either have that on 4 or 5 generally. Then I've got my 2x on 7, 3x on 7, my 4x on 5, my 6x on 4, my 8x on 3, and my 15x on 20. Now, it probably seems a little weird to have my 1x on 4, this to kind of go up and then down again. Normally, you'd kind of seen these go in like a tier, but I just find I've just experimented at the moment with having this very low, and that's kind of been working for me. These ones could potentially go a touch lower, but I'm kind of happy with them. I think you use 1x so often, it's kind of a bit of a different ball game to all the other scoped sights. But this has been working well for me at the moment. As always with sensitivity settings in PUBG, I would say that just copying someone else's one for one is not often going to give you great results. But if you're just new to the game, you've not played before, you've not played for a while, or your settings got reset and you can't remember what yours were, maybe these could give you a bit of a baseline. You can set them up and then tweak it, and for you, you might think this is crazy low, I'm going to put that up, or maybe you think your general needs to go down or go up to 20 or whatever. But it's a good starting point for you to try and get your sends set up just right. So just so you can see some of my settings real quick, you can see I can kind of jump around and like look around and spin quite quickly because of that general sends we had. But once we drop into aim, let's just go over to the range here. It's going to be a bit easier to see. I can show you my 1x here. So this is 1xing. You can see it's very slow panning around like this, but that's not too much of an issue because I don't spend lots of time like this panning around trying to get shots on enemies unless I'm making bad decisions. What you'll notice generally is I'm more often going to be going like this, and then I'm like this, and then I'm out, and I kind of go in and out of aim, and I pre-aim using my general send, so I'm looking around like this, and then when I've spotted my target, then I go in and aim. And if I want to aim at a guy there, then I'd drop out, and then I'd re-aim, and then I'd re-aim, and then I'd re-aim, rather than dragging that aim left and right, which is kind of very slow and clunky. You might notice me do it sometimes when I'm kind of panicking and shooting badly. But generally that's the idea, because it means I can quickly re-aim using my general, and then when I zoom in with my ADS, I find it quite easy to just control that dot over a small area because I've got this low sends. It doesn't drag it off target too easily. You'll notice it gets harder the further the range is. Obviously it's different at 200 meters to 50, but most of the time I'm not going to be spraying at 200 meters with my red dot. For the longer range scopes, this is my 6x on the SLR. This feels quite nice to me. It gives you a little bit of maneuverability, but without being too crazy. And then if you zoom it back out, it's quite a nice sort of range for 50-meter kind of shooting. Again, a little bit of maneuverability without being too crazy and twitchy. And I'll just show you some of my other ones. Here's the 8. You can see here, it's maybe a little bit slow and sluggish, but when we go up to range, maybe something like 250 all the way up to 300. That's kind of a nice little bit of sends for me there, just walloping the stick around. It's the 3x that we were talking about earlier. This is with slightly higher than my 1x sensitivity, but for me, I find it works quite well recently. I haven't been using the 3x a ton until quite recently. I go through phases with it, but I just started using it a bit more again, so perhaps that's why the 2x and 3x ones are a bit off in my lineup, is because they're kind of scopes that I don't use a ton. But now I'm starting to get back into 3x spraying with the barrel particularly. You might see that one get tweaked over time, but it's been working for me quite well recently. Could potentially see it come down very slightly, but yeah, quite happy with that how it is. And then if we go all the way up to the 15x, you can see that it's still like pretty crazily slow. I mean, obviously it's meant to be used at like crazy distances. There's not really a crazy distance here, but you can see, I mean, at that kind of distance, you know, it's kind of okay. We need to aim up quite a lot because it's absolutely miles away. But if you're shooting someone at like 200 meters, it feels very sluggish. And this is on 20. And if I zoom it out, it's, you know, it's maybe a little bit more bearable. But yeah, kind of a crazy scope. I never really use it very much. So there you go. That's about it for today. Just wanted to give you a rundown of my settings so you can all be up to date. If you've got any feedback on suggestions for improvements or tweaks you've made to my settings that you think work nicely, then leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more like this. Don't forget, you can catch us live streaming most weekdays on twitch.tv/thebeardguys. My name's Ben. We are the Beard Guys, and I'll see you next time.
Oh hi, it's me, Brian. Did you hear about the paddle sale at the boat store? It was quite an ordeal. Oh ha ha ha, do you get it? Do you get the joke? Ordeal. I am killing me. If you would like another quality joke, then please leave a like on this video and I'll see what I can do.